So, Red Nose Day, Comic Relief, has come round again.
Yeah, Red Nose Day is obviously the very specific day in the calendar for the whole generic term Comic Relief, I think.
It's normally when the telecast happens.
Yeah.
People know that that's the day when they can dress up, do charitable acts. But of course, Comic Relief is a charity that's working all the time for disenfranchised all over the world. Have you always been a strong champion of Comic Relief, Carl?
Not really.
Why was I expecting that answer?
But I do loads of stuff without going on about it.
My gift to the world has been you, Carl, to be quite honest. I feel that you're the world's
I'm
now.
sure there's people in Africa going, we'd prefer blankets.
Yeah.
Doing a wills charity, innit?
Is it?
Sort of.
I mean,
No,
if you make a donation to a charity within the will, I suppose that's quite charitable. But
Do you
just
mean-
giving money to your relatives isn't, is it?
Of course it is.
Well,
They
it
shouldn't
is.
have it.
They're
They
getting something for nothing, but it's... I don't know. It's giving something away that you have no use for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
mean,
but forget that. It's someone is getting something when
Yeah.
they've done nothing for it, really.
Well, it is. I suppose it is charity, but charity is usually infused with some sort of altruism. It's like it's not charity on your part because you're literally not around anymore. So it's no longer you giving it. It's just some
Yeah, but
money
I could
that
either
there
give
was.
it them or not give it them. Once I'm dead and I've turned to mush, I shouldn't be worrying about Suzanne's mum getting a table.
Is that what
you
you're
know-
leaving her?
Well, I called up my dad first.
Why are you
and said-
doing a will for the show?
Because of this travel thing
Right,
I'm doing, and it can get dangerous, you know.
But why haven't you done a will up to now?
Because you sort of, I don't know, I felt sort of young and free. Whereas now I'm...
That's never two words I've associated with Carl. He's always seemed like a man who's in his late 50s.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
I've certainly
yeah.
never the idea that you're free.
Even if we're just talking about the head alone, it's the head of a late 50-year-old.
Free of hair?
Yeah, totally free of fucking hair.
I'm sort of getting on first name terms with my doctor.
Oh, really?
Chatting more. Oh, what is it this time?
How's your middle finger?
You
Not
know.
too bad, Carl.
All that sort of thing. So it's just made me think,
Have you had that done for the will, by the way, for insurance
I think
and
you
stuff?
need to, don't you, for a will?
I think you do.
there's nothing on the
prostate
paper.
exam?
No.
No, listen, for insurance purposes, I think you need to have a testicular exam for testicular cancer. You're just leaving the high risk for testicular cancer, actually, and you're entering the high risk for prostate cancer.
And you can have both at the same time?
You could have both
the
at the same
examination
time,
at the same time.
if he's a very dexterous doctor.
I wouldn't want that.
Why? Too much like...
It's just too much
playful.
going on. It's like someone juggling you.
Yeah, it's like being examined by Squiddly Diddly.
And so you said you called up your dad?
Called him up. I said, is there anything you want if I die?
Right. And presumably, you know, Suzanne, she's getting the lion's share.
She is. But then the fella who was on the end of the phone talking us through it all was going, oh, you should get married. I was going, oh, shut up. He's saying, well, it make things a lot easier when it comes to this. And it's like, well, that isn't a reason to get married, is it?
Well,
So she can have all my stuff. I said, I've wrote on the bit of paper that she can have it. But it's something about tax. If you're not married, you have to hand over more. I think you get so much and then it's like ridiculous tax rate.
yeah.
But she's going, that's why we should get married, I'm going to be paying tax. I'm going, hang on a minute. She's already like thinking about money loss instead of me disappearing.
Yeah.
She's going, yeah, we should. I said, look, you'll be getting a load of money. I said, if I die on this programme anyway, I'm insured. You'll be
Yeah.
getting about £1 million for that.
Yeah,
I said, so that's something you haven't got now.
yeah,
Got nowhere near that now. I said, so even if you have to pay tax on that,
yeah.
I don't think it'd be right to get married just in case I get killed.
Have your two sets of parents met?
No.
That'd be good, would it?
Well, I suppose it's a reason to, isn't it? At least if you're getting married, there's a reason for them to meet. At the moment, there's no reason for them to meet. They'd get on each other's nerves. My dad wouldn't get on with a man.
Why?
Just wouldn't. She doesn't like me, so she won't like me dad. Because he's just an exaggerated version. So, I think it doesn't need to happen.
But you could just nip down the registry office, get it done and dusted, and you just phone up your folks and say, it's already happened, it's
I
too
said
late.
that. I said, listen, if we had to do it, I said if it was like we've got to do it for some reason, I said, I'd do that. We can have it done by 2, you can be back in work for 3. Because at the end of the day, there's no, you know, we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
We're not going to suddenly turn into some sort of Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan film just because we got married.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same, exactly the same.
Yeah. Me and Jane were out with them and Suzanne the other night, right, at dinner, and honestly, he is so grumpy. He was saying about for Christmas, right? He said, "You've had a flaw." You've had a flaw. Now, what did that mean?
We had a new floor put in.
But how is that her floor?
Because she wanted it.
But you walk on it too.
I paid for it. I don't understand what
But
you
don't
mean.
you understand that, like, you know, a romantic break or clothes or perfumes, you know, sort of things that are kind of indulgent for a lady, that's a gift, not
Yeah.
a new floor.
That is like something you give to some little African fella on Comic Relief. In fact, I think I saw it once. He didn't have a floor.
Exactly.
They built him a floor. I remember watching it with you, and they gave him a new pair of shoes and the floor. He went, "Hold on, floor or shoes, not both." So you think charity is all right as long as people don't get above their station with charity?
I think it should be there as a little booster.
Right.
They've always got their hand out.
Right.
And it's been like that since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I remember being a kid, people knocking on the door, my mum going, "Don't look at the door, there's someone there." And we'd just pretend they weren't
Charity
there.
starts at home, not at your home.
No, but because it's all the time. I mean, my mum didn't like answering the door anyway, even if it was the pools man, she'd sort of say, "Don't move," and he might not see that we're here.
So you just froze where a man was at the door,
Well, you just, because the front room was near the door, so people
Right.
could see in.
right?
So you just sort of stayed there and pretend that either you
Well, so
can't hear
like
him.
some sort of predator, like they can't see you if you don't move.
Well, even if he was peering in through the window and he could see you in there not moving.
So he looked through, and there was 3 people just frozen, right, like statues, right, just their eyes looking at him,
Yeah.
and
well,
him confused.
Well,
like-
they're clearly dead. I'll move on. There's obviously been a gas leak.
And did you say sitting or stand up, or did you sort of like throw yourself
No,
to
we
the
just,
floor?
we just sat on the, you know, where you were, and you just stayed still.
But did he ever look in and see?
I
you
don't know, because you didn't turn round, did you?
So you would pretend you couldn't hear the door?
It seemed to be the 80s, had a lot of it, because it was
Yeah.
all the Avon thing, wasn't it? It was perfume,
Yeah.
Tupperware.
What?
Tupperware.
Tupperware.
Yeah, the plastic boxes.
It's dishes for fat people. Here we go. Oh, these are big. Good they are. They're for fat fuckers like you to eat out of.
Just a lot of charity stuff. Just a lot. It seemed to be the time, the 80s, that they suddenly found out they can sort of scav money off people.
Okay, right. Let's do the scenario. I'm at the door. I can see you're in there. You might as well come open the door. Carl, why are you staying so still? Are you trying to avoid me?
It's working.
Carl, your eyes are moving. Can you come to the door, please?
I suppose in the end you've got to move on.
Carl, no, I'm going to stay here. I'm just going to stay here until you have to move. Carl. Okay, and I'll move on then. Right.
It works.
Yeah.
Works
okay.
perfectly.
Because
Brilliant.
once they've got you, that's the whole thing with charity. Once they've stopped you in the street, if you've stopped, that's it.
Keeps on going.
I mean, the good thing now is you've got an iPod, so you can just either pretend you're on the phone or listen to music.
Or just stay very still. Just freeze when someone says, "Can I trouble you?" Oh, he's totally frozen.
That would be amazing, because they're normally in one spot, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's just
So
they're
as soon
carrying
as
on
they
selling,
stop
and,
you,
and
so
you've
that
got
you're
to
just
stay there for
freezing.
the rest of it, outside waitrose
Yeah.
for 7 hours.
Yeah, it goes dark. Well, I've finished my shift, I'm off. And then you just see, your eyes just see them walk away like that, and they all meet in their little tunics. And then you start walk, they look back, and you freeze. And then they walk on. And then you can go home. 7 hours late.
Ever since I was young, I've always liked going in charity shops, particularly because, you know, you find sort of interesting old records in there. Never sort of gone in there to buy clothes and stuff, but, you know, books, whatever. And I was in a charity shop, you know, and I've patronised them for years, and I noticed out through the window there was like a paparazzi guy, and he was taking pictures of me through the window. It was a bit weird. And obviously, the old ladies in there didn't have any idea who I was, so they just thought that was a bit strange. And then it was in one of the magazines, like the kind of celebrity magazines. It was, oh, here's Steve Merchant. You know, despite all the money he must have made from his various projects, he's still going in charity shops. And you just think, but sorry, how is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
Sure.
I give a lot of stuff to charity. A lot. Most of the time, just because it's nearer than the wheelie bin is. It's just a way of getting rid of garbage most of the time with me. Stick it all in a bin bag, good stuff on the top, the stuff that you're embarrassed about, stick it in the bottom of the bag.
What are you embarrassed about?
Just old shoes, trainers,
Some of the books you've written.
socks, underpants.
Underpants! You do not give underpants to charity.
Washed.
But who's gonna wash? I know, as opposed to just like peeling them off.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I don't know why you've got a problem with underpants, but shoes. You see, I'd
Who's
never buy
buying
shoes.
underpants from a charity shop, though? I mean, I don't care how low you are on the socio-economic level.
I know.
You can get about 14 pairs for £1 in some places.
I know. I don't know who's buying underpants. I don't know who's buying your underpants. I definitely don't know.
I mean, if they were signed...
Yeah.
That is something. That is something I like doing though. When I've given to charity, I like going past the shop and seeing if it made it in the window.
Any success?
Yeah, recently the one not far from here had me egg cups in the window. So it's like, oh look, there's
What, you've got a new set of egg cups, so you've got rid of your old ones?
yeah.
I don't think we've got any egg cups.
Haven't you?
But there's nothing wrong. Honestly, it's hardly. I mean, it's made the window space. That's how good it was. It had hardly been used, that egg cup, because it was a doubler, and I think they were quite small for the egg size that I get. I think they were made more for the small egg, and I have the large egg.
Right.
So it was never really
Just
used.
like your underpants.